bad, that he was something of a Marxist ogre, and that he'd soon set his friends to look at you and all that, and that he was, in quotes, a bad man. I mean, that was the image that he carried.
I want to see the freest and the fairest elections possible in this country, with as many political parties who want to taking part in it. But intimidation is rife, violence is rife, and I've got to do everything that I can to minimize this. And hence my ordinance yesterday.
Lord Soames gave himself the legal power to ban any party guilty of intimidation.
I should warn that should he use those powers to ban ZANU from participating in election, then ZANU would hold itself absolved completely from the commitment to the Lancaster House Agreement. I'm saying, Lord Soames, choose, is it war or peace?
It was really the most important decision, I think, which I had to take throughout the whole of the 2 months leading up to the election.
Lord Soames knew that his men in the assembly camps were virtual hostages to thousands of guerrillas tensed for action if he decided to ban ZANU. But the Rhodesian security forces had the power to seize control if they didn't get their way, and they wanted Mugabe banned.
There were quite enough people who didn't think like we thought and were prepared to do almost anything to keep Rhodesia under white control.
As he drove away from an election rally, Mugabe narrowly escaped assassination when a bomb exploded under his motorcade.
This is another instance of the least said the better. But as Mugabe himself said at a later stage, we had spent years trying to kill each other. There were things went on during the elections that would not have been happening in normal times.
A series of bombs exploded across the country. A bus filled with Muzorewa supporters was hit by a rocket. Evidence pointed to clumsy attempts by the security forces to incriminate ZANU.
I think it became apparent towards the end, I mean the last week or so, that Mr. Mugabe was going to win. I think that it was, at that time, it was not a solution which I thought would be as well received as some of the others.
Some of the governor's Foreign Office officials advised him to ban ZANU in a few areas of high intimidation. This should take enough seats from Mugabe to stop him coming to power.
We said that we had promised a free and fair election. There had been an election which, broadly speaking, was free and fair, and we were going to help the government which emerged from it in every way we could.
Typical diplomatic language as to why nothing could be done, a wringing of hands and a, well, we can't do anything, and you know, it's terribly difficult. The United Nations have been here and people from all over the world are watching us now, and how can we possibly stop it at this stage? We certainly felt that the people we were talking to were beneath contempt.
It was a very tense meeting, but there were people who realized fully, and in fact I believe that Walls also realized, that any imprudent action would result in real disaster for the white community.
When push came to shove, Walls took the right decision right the way down the line, including deciding that he would not support a coup at the end, and there was much pressure, I have no doubt, put on him for that.
Finally, I will recap on the results and the state of the parties. ZANU PF, 57 seats. The Patriotic Front, 20 seats. the UANC 3 seats.
As ZANU supporters celebrated, many whites were packing their bags. Mugabe had to do something to reassure them. He flew to Mozambique to consult President Samora Machel.
Samora felt we should also include Ian Smith in the government, but we said, okay, we'll think about that one. So as to kind of avoid any possible rift in the unity of the nation. But when we went to Prison Nyerere said, oh no, Ian Smith, of course not. We couldn't go that far, but we felt that we should include some whites in the government.
The governor, now working closely with his prime minister, also advised reconciliation. Mugabe should meet the general he had been fighting for 7 years and invite him to stay on as his commander.
During the course of the discussion, I said to him, but how can I, as an avowed anti-Marxist, work for a person like you? And he said, well, you must know, General, that the teachings of Karl Marx are identical to those of Jesus Christ. And I said, I can't possibly accept that, but I can't argue with you on an intellectual thing like that now.
General Walls agreed to serve independent Zimbabwe. Here, as throughout the empire, once British rule was over, the whites who stayed on continued to prosper. It was the minorities at odds with the new regimes who suffered most from the end.